Imagine a city so powerful, so grand, that its people believed it was eternal. This was Babylon, the jewel of the ancient world. Protected by towering walls so thick that chariots could race on top, surrounded by a deep moat fed by the mighty Euphrates River, and defended by elite armies, Babylon was considered unbreakable. Its citizens felt secure, convinced that no enemy could ever breach their defenses. But on one fateful night, everything changed. The greatest city on earth, the heart of an empire, fell without a real fight. How could this happen? How did an entire army slip inside the world's most fortified city and capture it while its people partied, completely unaware of their doom? Let's rewind to Babylon at its absolute peak, under the legendary King Nebuchadnezzar II. This wasn't just a city. It was a wonder of the world. Picture the hanging gardens, a lush green mountain of terraces rising from the desert, a masterpiece of engineering and beauty. Think of the colossal temples dedicated to the god Marduk, and sprawling palaces decorated with brilliant blue-glazed bricks. Babylon was the center of global trade, its markets overflowing with goods from every corner of the known world. Its astronomers mapped the stars with incredible precision, and its legal codes were centuries ahead of their time. It was the cultural, spiritual, and economic capital of the world. But with this immense wealth and power came a dangerous side effect: overconfidence. The Babylonians began to believe they were untouchable. After the golden age of Nebuchadnezzar, the empire's leadership began to crumble. The new king, Nabonidus, was a strange and controversial figure. He wasn't even from the royal bloodline. Instead of ruling from the magnificent capital, he abandoned Babylon for nearly a decade, moving to an oasis in the Arabian desert. This created a massive power vacuum. Worse, he clashed with the powerful priest of Marduk, the city's chief god, trying to promote his own favored deity, the moon god Sin. This religious conflict tore at the very fabric of Babylonian society. In his absence, his son Belshazzar was left in charge as regent. Belshazzar was young, arrogant, and more interested in lavish parties than in governing. With a weak, absent king and an inexperienced prince at the helm, the mighty Babylonian Empire was rotting from the inside. While Babylon was weakened by internal strife, a new power was rising in the east. A brilliant leader named Cyrus the Great had united the scattered Persian tribes into a single formidable force. Cyrus wasn't just a military genius. He was a master of strategy and diplomacy. His army was disciplined, loyal, and incredibly effective. But his greatest weapon wasn't his soldiers. It was his policy of tolerance. As he expanded his empire, he didn't just conquer. He liberated. He respected local customs and religions, often winning over cities without a fight. Many of the cities under Babylonian rule, tired of the chaos and neglect from their own leaders, willingly opened their gates to Cyrus, seeing him as a savior, not a conqueror. The Persian threat was growing, and it was closing in on Babylon itself. Finally, the Persian army stood before the gates of Babylon. The city's defenses were just as legendary as its wealth. The massive outer and inner walls, the deep moat filled by the Euphrates River running straight through the city, it seemed impossible to assault. The Babylonians had stockpiled enough food and supplies to withstand a siege for over 20 years. They scoffed at the Persian army from their ramparts. Confident in their impenetrable fortress, life inside the city walls went on as usual. In fact, they were in the middle of a massive religious festival. The sounds of celebration, music, and feasting echoed through the streets. They were completely oblivious, wrapped in a blanket of false security. But Cyrus the Great had a plan so audacious and brilliant, it would become one of the most famous military tactics in history. He knew he couldn't break the walls, so he decided to go under them. He ordered his engineers to dig a series of canals upstream from Babylon. On the night of the great festival, under the cover of darkness, his men diverted the entire flow of the Euphrates River into a marshy basin. The water level flowing through the city began to drop, slowly but surely. Soon, the mighty river became a shallow, muddy stream. The water gates, massive iron grates meant to stop intruders from the river, were now high and dry, leaving a wide open path directly into the heart of Babylon. Cyrus's elite troops waded through the mud of the riverbed, slipped under the walls, and entered the city without a single alarm being raised. This is where the story takes a legendary turn, immortalized in ancient texts. Inside the royal palace, Belshazzar was hosting a magnificent feast for 1,000 of his lords. They were drinking wine from sacred vessels looted from the temple in Jerusalem, mocking foreign gods and praising their own. Suddenly, a disembodied hand appeared and began writing a mysterious message on the palace wall. Panic erupted. The terrified Belshazzar called for his wisest men, but no one could decipher the strange words, Mene, Mene, Tekel, Upharsin. Finally, the prophet Daniel was brought in and gave the grim interpretation. God had numbered the days of Belshazzar's kingdom and brought it to an end. He had been weighed on the scales and found wanting. His kingdom would be divided and given to the Medes and Persians. That very same night, as the prophecy was delivered, Persian soldiers were already spreading silently through the streets. Babylon fell while its leaders were feasting, a perfect symbol of arrogance and moral decay, leading to an epic collapse. Remarkably, the fall of Babylon was not a story of fire and destruction. Cyrus the Great gave strict orders to his army to cause minimal damage. The city was not burned, the temples were protected, and the lives of ordinary citizens were spared. Cyrus presented himself as a liberator, personally entering the city and paying his respects to the Babylonian god Marduk, winning over the priests and the people. Babylon was not annihilated, it was absorbed. It became another province in the vast and multicultural Persian Empire. This was a transition of power, not a brutal conquest. The city itself would continue to be an important center for centuries, but its time as the capital of the world was over, ending not with a bang, but with a whisper. So why did Babylon really fall? It wasn't because the Persian army was stronger than Babylon's walls. The true reasons were all internal. The empire was crippled by a crisis of leadership, with a detached king and an incompetent prince. Society was fractured by religious division and political instability. And above all, the leaders and the people were blinded by overconfidence and pride. They believed their past glory and their physical defenses made them invincible, and they failed to see the rot that was spreading from within. Cyrus the Great didn't so much conquer Babylon as he simply walked in and took over a house that was already collapsing. Even after its fall, Babylon's legacy endured. Its sophisticated legal codes, like the famous Code of Hammurabi, influenced the development of law in later civilizations, including the Greeks and Romans. Its advanced astronomical knowledge was passed on, forming the bedrock of future scientific discovery. The city's grand urban design, its massive walls, gates, and ziggurats, became a blueprint for cities for centuries to come. And the story of its fall, the writing on the wall, became a powerful and timeless symbol of pride coming before a fall. In the end, the story of Babylon is a chilling reminder for all of history. The mightiest city on earth, a symbol of human achievement and power, was brought to its knees in a single night. It teaches us that power without wisdom is fragile, and that unity and good leadership are far stronger than any physical wall. Babylon did not fall because its walls were weak. It fell because of weak leadership, broken unity, and blind pride. And that's a lesson that is just as relevant today as it was 2,500 years ago. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more stories of the ancient world.